everyone, and welcome to Lyon Around Connecticut with Carol and Harry. I am Carol Kearns. My husband Harry Shue is our co-host. Our mission for the show is twofold: to provide information about Connecticut Lions events and to showcase the many different organizations and causes that Lions support locally, regionally, and internationally. Harry?
Good evening and welcome. Please consult our website at www.lions23b.org or your district spirit for more information on coming events.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lyon Around Connecticut with Carol and Harry.
We are here at the Middletown Senior Center, and this is the International Director Candidate Forum. We have two excellent candidates, past council chairs, both Dowlatshahi from District 23B and Mark Lyon from District 23A. We're looking forward to an hour and a half of question and answer, right, Carol?
Yes, it's going to be great. En avant.
We're here on a Saturday morning at the Middletown Senior Center. It is the multiple District 23 International Director Candidate Forum. So we've got Lions here from all around the state. Looking at some of the Brookfield Lions now, which is ID candidate Mark Lyon's home district. There is Dowlatshahi from South Windsor, who is the District 23B candidate. So beautiful morning this morning and a good turnout here at the Middletown Senior Center.
I do have copies of the rules up here for everybody. I'm not going to read them all, although I do want to acknowledge the Sergeants at Arms. Could the Sergeants at Arms please stand up? So the Sergeants at Arms,
We've got to behave ourselves.
according to the rules, Sergeants at Arms will escort out of the hall any lion exhibiting disrespectful or rude behavior. We expect lions to follow proper Lions decorum. The candidates have 4 questions that they know ahead of time. I had requested that anybody wanted to submit questions ahead of time. I did receive some of those. A couple were very similar, so I combined them into one question. And we'll go through those. And then candidates have 5 minutes for an introduction, 3 minutes for each response to questions. And the timers over here, one timer will stand up when there is 30 seconds left. Another timer will stand up when there is 15 seconds left in their time element. And then I do have the bell and gavel, and I'll put it over on the windowsill, and they will be notified when their time is up. Yeah. So let me get back to introductions. We do have from District 23B, District Governor Bobby Clark. And since I saw him walk in and he reminded me, District 23A, Shaka Khan. So are there any questions about the procedures, the rules? If anybody wants a copy of the rules, they are up here ahead. Nobody has any questions. So it is my pleasure this morning to introduce to you our sound man, Steve Bagel. His special request to sit up here. He brought his equipment so that he can check the volume on people. Oh, and Vice District Governor Harry Shue, thank you, Carol, is recording. Oh, can we edit this? And then the last introduction I need to make, our moderator for today, my brother, District Governor, immediate past District Governor from 23C, George Selby.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I have seen proper Lions decorum in the past. I'm concerned. I am concerned. I believe we have microphones also for the
Oh, we have to do a coin toss. That's right. First one to retreat.
And that's heads. Do you want to go first or last?
I go first.
Go first. Oh.
We give the candidates an opportunity to introduce themselves. I say like, I don't know, 5 minutes. So seeing CEO want to turn the coin to us? Us?
Don't have the coin. She does.
Okay. Where's his microphone?
Come on. Well, good morning, Lions. My name is Sia Dowlatshahi. Hard to pronounce, easy to work with. First of all, I would like to thank Council Chair Kathy Randall and Assistant Governor George Salpitro for putting this program together. And also, I want to thank all the volunteers here, but I want to thank all of you Lions to come in here to hear from both of us. I started, when I joined the South Windsor Lions Club 25 years ago. That's when I became a Lion. I became a Lion for life when I attended USA-Canada Forum 9 years ago. During that convention, one of the luncheons, there was this young lady who stood up in front of 3,000 Lions. She said, I want to thank you. I want to thank you because of you. I can see all of you. That was a moment for me. She went on to say, 30 years prior to that date, when she was a child, her parents took her to the doctor. After carefully examining her, the doctor turned to the parents and said, I'm afraid she's going to go blind. We need to have a surgery. We also need to find a donor. The parents didn't have the funds. Through the local Lions Club, they raised the money. Through the local Lions Club, they found the donor. And here she was, 30 years later, thanking people like you and me. You know, I always wondered what would have happened to her had there not been a local Lions Club. My fellow Lions, with this position comes in a huge responsibility and time frame. Lions International is asking the international director to be able to travel within the United States and sometimes outside of the country. You're going to visit them for conventions, for seminars, and there are times you're there to train the Lions. You're going to motivate and inspire the Lions. And this happens for 2 years, 2018 to 2020. I'm blessed and lucky because I own my own business. I have been a financial advisor for the past 32 years. What that means, I have lots of flexibility with my time. But I also want to do certain things for our own state of Connecticut. I want to bring more grants to our own state of Connecticut. We have seen the effects of those grants. Last year, we received $100,000 matching contribution from LCIF for the kids side through Connecticut Lions Eye Research Foundation. We were able to purchase 23 cameras. We screened 54,000 children. What was amazing, almost 11% of those children were referred to doctors. We have already made a huge difference in so many children's lives. I also want to work with the signature project, like diabetes awareness and education. We've been losing so many people because of it. I want to work with the youth opportunities. Our children are the future leaders. They are the future Lions. I want to work with the membership, education, and publicity. I believe all these three things link together. To give you an example about education, I would take my new member to Fidelco Guidebooks. Let them experience the blindfold walk. The first time I did that, when they blindfolded me, when I was holding the dog, I said, oh my God, my life was dependent on that dog. That was a moment I realized what the blind person goes through each and every day of their life. Publicity. Publicity is extremely important. We have seen another effect of that. Last year, in District C, they brought a new club. What they did, few leaders, they went to the community, talked to a few people. Then they went on the website and they talked about it. They received so many inquiries, and there were lots of people joined their club because of the social media. I think we need to use that very carefully. Together, we can see the possibilities. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and again, thank you to our Council Chair Kathy, to Past District Governor George for letting us have this event today. This is a great opportunity to get to know a lot more Lions. We've been crisscrossing the state over the last couple of months talking about our backgrounds, and you have that literature, so we're not going to touch on that today. It's out there, it's well known to a lot of people. What I want to talk today is about Lionism and what it means to me as a personal commitment and the passion that I have for this association. About 21 years ago is when I joined the Brookfield Lions Club, thanks to past Council Chair Tom. I'll never forgive you for that one. It's been a long journey, and through those years I've had a chance to build a lot of relationships, both here in Connecticut and beyond, and I think those are critical for the development that I have in Lionism. They've exposed me to a lot of different ideas, a lot of different best practices, and just a difference of opinion on what our association is all about and where it's going forward. So those are the things I want to really focus on if I'm asked to be your endorsed candidate for International Director. One of the things a lot of people ask me is, what about the commitment of time? And Lyon Lynn and I, Lyon Lynn has been a member of Lions for over 14 years now and just finished 2 years as club president. We both spoke to our employers, and we talked to them about what Lionism is. We did that 3-minute elevator speech for them. And we talked to them about how important it was for us to continue the spirit of Lionism going forward. And after we talked to them, we both got their confirmation that this is an okay thing to do. They're going to support us in any way they can to give us the time away from the office to be able to travel across the country, around the world, to do whatever our international board asks us to do. So this is really critically important for people to understand that the time commitment is there, and it is certainly there on my part too, with the way I intend to run activities as an international director. The work that I do is also critically important for you to understand on how I'm fit for this role. As a corporate administration manager for Synchrony Financial and working for other public companies in the past, my role is directly focused on working with boards of directors and committees. Everything that I do is laser focused on participating in what the board does, the structure of the board, the communications that need to go on with board of directors and executive officers, which would be from our Lions International offices, and making sure that things are running properly and squarely and moving forward in accordance with Constitution and bylaws. I'm very familiar with rules of confidentiality, rules of liability for directors, and things that are really important for our international board. A lot of us talk about what the role of the international director is, and we think about all the travel that's involved. And PID Carolyn and PID Scott have told us over and over, 35 to 40 weekends a year for 2 years. It's a huge commitment of time. But there's also that service on the board piece. And I think that's critically important going forward for all of you to understand that that's exactly what my background is. And I'm looking forward to using those skills that I've developed over the years to be the best international director that I can be. The relationships, again, that we've developed over the years and serving particularly on the New England Lions Council has been really important in my development. Hearing the PIDs from around New England talk about their roles and the importance of the things that they've done for the Lions throughout New England and at the international level continues to circle through with me. The guidance that they've given me and serving as mentors has been critically important to my growth as a Lion, and it will continue regardless of what happens in the future. We've built some great friendships over the years, and we're looking forward to expanding that role even further in the years ahead. So again, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today. We're looking forward to answering questions that we know some of, and that we're looking forward to answering from you off the cuff, because I think that is also critically important for the role of international directors, just to be able to answer questions very, very quickly and succinctly right out of the gate. So again, thank you for your time, and we're ready for questions.
Okay, the first question. What is the greatest single attribute outside of your Lions experience that you'll bring to the role of an international director and to your service on the international board? See ya.
The greatest attribute that I bring to the board of directors of International is the fact that I am multicultural and bilingual. I was born and raised in the Middle East. My father was Persian, my mother was Russian. Both my parents worked very hard to make sure all my three brothers and myself get a great education. When I graduated from high school, I went to London, England for education. That was a cultural shock for me. I was 18 years old, lived with my parents for 18 years. Here I am in a country that I don't know the culture, I don't know the language, and I'm living in a small apartment. It was difficult, but I adjusted. I learned the language, I learned the culture. Then when I moved to San Francisco, California, I went to University of San Francisco. I graduated with a business management degree. You got to remember, there are 34 international directors. 11 of them are from the United States of America. 23 are from all other parts of the world, with different backgrounds, different cultures, different experiences, different languages. I believe I bring a huge value to the board of directors with that experience and knowledge that I have. In fact, the Lions International has been encouraging us to start new cultural clubs. Why is that? We have huge diversity in our country. Great people from other countries, they're coming in here because this is the greatest country in the world. They're coming here for education, they're coming here for work, to prosper. And I happen to be one of them. And now I want to give back to my community, my country, and all the people with the Lions, because that's my passion. This is the way I want to give it back. I was lucky to get whatever I received, now I want to give it back. It's interesting, 3 months ago I was in San Francisco, and I was walking on the street. It was really interesting. I was hearing so many people speaking so many different languages. This is the next century. We need to recognize that. We need to bring more cultural clubs, which in fact, District B last year started a new club with 32 young professionals from Nepal. They're doing an incredible job. And they have already started having a couple projects, and they're doing really well. Remember, see out the possibilities.
I didn't see that coming. The single most important attribute for me is work ethic. And I'm going to tell you two quick stories. So the first one, because of the events of the recent couple of weeks, is with regard to my dad. And my dad was known as a workaholic. I like to look at it as the fact that he was not afraid to work hard. He was dedicated 110% to his chosen profession as a minister. And I think I gained a little bit of that genetic history too, because of the gift of gab I tend to have at times. But I think it's really important because that work ethic is critically important to serving on our international board. There's a lot of activities that we're going to be asked to perform. There's a lot of reading. There's a lot of preparation ahead of time. There's a lot of follow-up and communication that has to be done. And I think that the work ethic that I've generated over the years that I've used in my career, professional career and in Lionism is going to be critically important. The second story has to do with a boss that I had many years ago, and this guy was he was a character. He grew up in a law enforcement and military family. His dad was really rigid with him, so everything that he did was very strict and very much regimented according to the rules. And in his desk drawer, he had a copy of the Army manual, and he brought that Army manual out when I first started working, and he talked to me about what completed staff work is all about. And that has stuck with me, because what he taught me was that you have to be prepared to present your work in such a way that your boss would be willing to sign their name to the bottom of it as if it was theirs. And I've lived that every day of my life in my work career. I've wanted to make sure that everything I do is complete, it's done fairly, it's done honestly, it's done equitably across the board so that everybody benefits from it. And I will bring those skills to the board as an international director as well. So it's work ethic. I think it's critically important. I think it's something that a lot of people don't think about. A lot of people that I work with every day don't have that driven quality to them. They're not always happy on the job. They're not always looking to take on new projects. My experiences in Lions have afforded me the great opportunity to lead a lot of different groups, to lead train-the-trainer seminars, to run advanced Lions leadership institutes and emerging Lions leadership institutes. And I can't have done that without this work ethic that I've inherited from my dad and from people that I've worked with over the years. Thank you.
Okay, the next question will go back to Vice Council Chair Mark. I think this is probably one of the more important questions that are facing our organization, especially here in the U.S. While the membership of Lions clubs in the world has been increasing, the membership of clubs in the U.S. has been decreasing. What can be done to turn this around?
Thank you, George. Membership has always been something that Lions have talked about. It's been hammered into us over and over again because it's always an issue, and it's always going to be an issue. The growth of Lionism, the success of Lionism here in the United States is what has given the growth what has given Lionism a chance to grow internationally. We're a victim of our own success sometimes. The Lionism in parts of Asia and Africa and other parts of the world are growing because it's new and it's exciting and it's different and it involves women and it involves young people. When Lions started in the U.S., it did not have that same kind of an impact. You know, it wasn't until 1987 that we invited women to join, and we never went after the youth aspect of our demographic to get them involved in Lionism. So we're paying the price for that now by struggling in a lot of ways with keeping our membership numbers up here in the United States. And it's reflected in the number of directors we have. The number of U.S. directors is being reduced because of the impact of membership. So how can we fix it? If I had the answer to that, I wouldn't be here. But what I think it's all about, and what I want to talk about if I'm endorsed to serve as your international director, is the transformative nature of Lionism. I think it goes beyond the regular club activities. I think people need to understand that Lionism does things for people. It changes them. Primarily from the boots on the ground, getting your hands dirty kind of activities. That's what gets people involved. And I've told the story before about my own Brookfield Lions Club and our involvement with establishing a community garden. That garden allowed us to welcome in members of the garden club from our town as new members. And our club grew quite a bit, percentage-wise, because we convinced them what a great organization Lions were just by going out and venturing into their world and having a community garden. So it's these kind of projects. It's different groups within the community. There's a philosophy about tribes, not communities. And the tribes are the individual groups. It's the very specialized groups that are within every community and how important they are. We have to focus on attracting different groups, smaller groups, and getting them involved in what Lionism is all about. And only then can we really look at the membership numbers. We all have to do our part. It's hard to ask people to be members of Lions clubs sometimes. Some people are really, really good at it. Some people are horribly deficient in their ability to ask other people to do things. But we all know people, we all need to talk about it. We just need a different way to talk about it. And I'm going to focus on the transformative power of Lionism and how it changes people for the better in an effort to serve our world better for humanitarian service.
I believe we can change those numbers for our own country. In fact, Lions Club International came up with the incredible idea this year, starting a new position called Global Service Team. Now, we have a global service team for each club. We have a global service team for each district. We have a global service team for each multiple district. And they're supposed to be working together. The role of the global service team in a club is the fact that they should be contacting their leaders in their community, such as mayor or the selectmen. Then they sit down with them. They ask them, what are the needs for our community? We are the Lions. We make a difference in other people's lives. What can we do for you? They would love it. They would sit there, they would say, okay, there are 8, 9 different projects that you can help us. Then the GSD would take those back to her club, brainstorm with the members of the club. Then they come up with 2 or 3 different projects. They contact the selectmen or the mayor and go back and sit down with them. This is what they should tell them. Okay, we are glad and happy to help you. These are the 2 or 3 projects we're going to come up with. We can help you. But we need your help. We need the manpower because we don't have enough volunteers. Mayor would be happy to help them with the volunteers. And when you go and work with these projects, you get all the volunteers coming in. They're gonna be working with you. They're gonna see how you work, what the Lionism is all about. That's how people join them. What worked 20, 25 years ago by simply just inviting a member or somebody to a free dinner, it doesn't work anymore. Like making them work next to them, seeing the projects that the Lions do, that's the key. That's why the global service team is huge and is very important. I think it's going to turn it around. I also believe that we need to work on the publicity. I know many of our clubs have websites. Unfortunately, I've gone to some of the websites. They're not up to date. I was looking at the website for a fundraiser, and they still had something from last year. So the point is, publicity is important, global service team is extremely important. Thank you.
Hello again, everyone. This has been an excellent MD23 International Director Candidate Forum, hasn't it, Harry?
That's quite a mouthful, Carol. Both candidates have been very impressive so far. Come back next week for more of the Candidates Forum. So that's going to do it for this episode of Lyon Around Connecticut with Carol and Harry. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed our show this evening. Tune in next week for another Lyon Around Connecticut with Carol and Harry. Good night.
Bye-bye.